Hey, so I'm back already. So, as you can see, the topic that we're going with are 21st century skills, and that is regarding financial literacy and coding. And we're fortunate enough that the both of them kind of go hand in hand when you're talking about cryptocurrency, because you have the actual currency, which is what we would talk about with regards to financial literacy, and then the coding that goes into excuse me, water. Goes into the coding of the cryptocurrency. And so, as you may or may not know, during our summit, if you sign up for the VIP, there is an introductory to financial literacy type of program that we're going to be doing in our junior mastermind. So definitely sign up for that aspect. And when we work through that, we're going to be teaching our young people true financial literacy. They're going to understand the difference between fiat currency and cryptocurrency and how currency is traded on the markets, and just a lot in general about finance. And for those of you who don't know, I have an MBA in finance, graduate certificate in internal audit, and have taken coursework towards another master's degree in forensic accounting and fraud examination. So think I'm a math person that really, really loves finance, accounting, and so on and so forth. But anyway, leave that side of me out for a moment. So with all of that being said, there has been a global initiative out for some time now that the goal is to get all of our children globally up to speed on financial literacy. And quite frankly, it's a goal, and not enough of it is being implemented. And for those of us who homeschool, it's extremely important that we find resources and tools that really help our kids. And if you're a parent that doesn't feel comfortable talking about finances, or there are aspects of finance that you may or may not know about, this type of program is super awesome for you, because we give you the opportunity to share alongside your children with some really in-depth topics, and regardless of their age, because your little ones can digest a lot of information just like our older ones. It's all about how it's presented. And so with all of that being said, a lot of the work that we do is technology infused, right? Because we are a STEAM-based organization, and that's why we talk about STEAM every day. Because one, I absolutely love it, and I think it's just something that appeals to me. But two, and not to be a slight on the traditional system, but they haven't done the best job of delivering STEM-based education plus the arts across the board, across the entire spectrum of school systems across the United States. Obviously, I know that a lot of you are from outside of the country as well, but I'm pretty sure if some things are going on in the US that aren't so great, they're probably going on in your country as well. And so in this study that I reviewed, because of the pandemic, they're now at a year behind. So every time one of these organizations go a year behind, that's information that's not being implemented out across the globe, and our kids are then a year behind. But that doesn't have to be the case. And so that's why we're putting together our blockchain and cryptocurrency and overall financial literacy program in the summit, because we want to be able to ensure that our young people are well versed about what's taking place in this 21st century, right? We say we want to give them 21st century skills, but how do we do that if we're not staying ahead of the trends, right? It's not good enough now to say, okay, especially if you're a homeschooler, oh, we're going to beat out the school by moving faster, so to speak, or our kids have passed this subject matter, so we're just going to move up a grade level. If the information isn't there to begin with, the grade level ahead, how does your child get exposed to it? And that's what we do. We do the research. We put in the work, the forethought to see, okay, what careers are going to boom in the next 5 to 10 years? Because depending on where your child is, that may be the window that they're going to be entering school. Entering the field of work, or entering university or a trade school, right? And because if you think about it, if you have an 8-year-old In 10 years, they will be graduating from high school and they will be moving on or even graduating a little bit before then. But with that being said, 5 to 10 year window, let's say, or even a 5 to 15 year window, you have your children preparing for a world that you may not know about yet. And if it's not a part of what you do to research and understand what's coming down the pike, you're just thinking, okay, I'm going to educate my child. I know that they're brilliant and I know they're going to figure it out. And when they get to college, that'll happen. Well, when does that really happen? College is an institution that teaches theory. It does not teach the actualization of things, right? That's normally why people go to trade schools as opposed to a university, because the university is supposed to be able to help you work on your mind and think and learn how to think for the first time. But we're doing it differently now. We think children need to learn how to think and be critical thinkers very early on. And so that's why we have this project-based system in place. And I just want to give an ode to a school that for the first time when I had my son and we were looking to find a new school, we found this amazing school in Dallas called EA Young Academy. It was just an amazing school. And for the first time, I felt like, there's a school that gets us. There's a school that understands, because I had this idea of this radical constructivist approach to learning, which is you allow your children, one, to lead, but two, to afford them the opportunity to work in a multidisciplinary manner so that they're not just tunnel vision on one subject and not understanding how that subject applies to another. And I know that I've talked about this before, but I'm going to give a prime example. I believe it was last week, I was on a call in one of our clubhouse rooms. And there was a parent who said, I don't understand why we needed to understand all of this math. They were talking about Common Core, and I was explaining how Common Core, even though parents may not agree with it, there are some aspects of Common Core that's really, really important, which is the fact that it teaches young people how to think algorithmically. Right? Because we didn't have to think algorithmically if we were not computer programmers, right? But now that more and more aspects of life and the future require our young people to understand how to program and code, regardless of whether or not they love it or not, just the way some people don't love math, it's a part of the learning curriculum, right? That's what's going to happen. And if it isn't already happening in your system or in your home, that they have to learn how to program. It's just a thing. It's like a requirement at this point. And so back to what was being said. The parent had said, I don't understand. I've never had to use sine and cosine in my life after school. And I go, okay, but trigonometry is still important. Just because of the career path that you chose, you feel like it didn't have place, you can still use trigonometry in everyday living. And I know people think, oh, how so and why? But if your child wants to, let's say, be a civil engineer, they need to understand the angles of triangles, right? They need to understand geometry in order to be building structures or, supporting. When someone goes out and they build a bridge, understanding how to support the bridge and to keep it up requires a level of understanding of trigonometry, right? And so it's all about how it's applied in our lives. And just because you made a decision after high school that you weren't going to go into a field where it's applicable, it's important at least that you learn those things so that should you decide to explore, you have the opportunity to do so. And definitely in architecture, you would utilize trigonometry. And quite frankly, if you wanted to build a tree house, you literally sit out and you could, based on standing there, never climbing up in a tree to do any measurement, you can honestly come up with the calculations without ever taking out a ruler if you understand true trigonometry and angles. And so I say all of this to say that we don't know what we'll need in the future, so to speak, specifically. But it's extremely important that we prepare. And in preparation for this digital decade and 21st century careers, it's important that our young people start to love and master science, technology, engineering, arts and math. And you know why I always bring in the arts? Because creative thinking is the ingenuity we need to be able to create new systems and create the very jobs that haven't been developed yet. Because we already know that there are going to be new careers coming out. And why can't your young people be the ones that develop those careers and create them out of thin air? Why can't they be the innovators? And so we wholeheartedly believe at Nobu Kiddo that that is exactly who we want to raise and to nurture and mentor along the path, because young people are our future. We know that. How do we prepare them and equip them with everything that they need? And so in the summit, it's our introductory program for the summer. It's our summer program to teach coding and to teach financial literacy, and life mapping. So there's a lot in there, but I really wanted to come in today to talk about the savviness of our young people and getting them out there and being able to be exposed to this subject matter that, quite frankly, some people think is only available to high schoolers, right? Or even if you're in high school, if you don't go to a certain school, you wouldn't have access to it. And as homeschoolers, we teach in different levels, but for me, I'm bringing in my wealth of knowledge into producing this course. And it's not even a course, it's a course, but it's an interactive summer camp of sorts. It's all virtual, and it's going to be really fun, and we look forward to the mastermind that will brew outside of it. And that's that. So I just wanted to come in today and remind you to enroll in the Boundless Kiddo Summit. And if you go to the first page and you just sign up for the free, that's fine. But just know there's another side, and there's a lot of things that are in there that are amazing for you and your kiddos. And that's that. So go to the BoundlessKiddoSummit.com. And I'm not going to stop talking about it because this is something that I want you to do. It's going to make for an amazing summer. And stay tuned. Come back, learn with us, grow with us, develop with us, and definitely subscribe. I've got to be able to get all the fancy things. I've finally figured out how to do this. I can see it over here. This is where I see everything. I can finally see the ticker. Now I've got to get the subscribe and link buttons and all those cool things that you can do on here, so I can be really cool. I'm supposed to know tech, right? Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today, and I look forward to connecting with you again tomorrow. And that's it. Bye-bye.